Hey people, this is my weekly rundown of things in entertainment news that interest me, and I want to start off with Spider-Man this week. The Amazing Spider-Man had a 4-minute preview that was released this week, and a lot of it is stuff that we've already seen in the trailer, but there was a pretty long clip of a new scene that shows Spider-Man rescuing kids, so that was a pretty cool scene to see, so definitely check that out. And there's also a new interview out with Marc Webb, just talking about the movie and the process of bringing this to life, so that's also something to check out if you're interested. Joss Whedon has spoken a little bit about Avengers 2, and among other things he said that he's torn about coming back because while he has ideas about where to go with the sequel and he thinks they're pretty cool, he says that it's a tremendous amount of work bringing to life what is someone else's story, since the Avengers is an adaptation, and a lot of what he's done throughout his career are original concepts like Buffy, Angel, Firefly, Dollhouse, that type of thing. So I am hoping to see him come back to write and direct the sequel. I mean, obviously that's a ton of work for someone to do, writing and directing a movie, but he did a great job with Avengers. If I had to weigh one over the other, I'd say I hope he writes it at least, because the script was great. It was funny, it had a lot of balance between the characters, and I think that's a tough thing for anyone to do. So I'd love to have another Joss Whedon script for Avengers, and I think there are a lot of capable directors who could handle his script and do it well. There's some new concept art that has been released for the Avengers. You can see this picture here of the Chitauri on their little hover bike thing, and some storyboards as well, so you can check those out. And I've also posted a link in the description to a preview for the Art of the Avengers book, which looks really cool. You can see some of the evolution of the costume design. They've got the Captain America costume in the preview and how that changed. And I think it's just cool to see the stages that these things go through. And concept art, to me, some of it just looks really cool. And sometimes in movies you're able to capture it. Like the Avengers movie, I think, looked pretty cool. And some things aren't able to translate as well when you are doing costumes. Like the Captain America costume, I think looked pretty decent, but the concept art for it looked a little bit cooler than it did in the movie. So definitely, if you were a little bit disappointed in it, check that out. One last thing I wanted to mention about the Avengers. I was on Netflix today, and on their section of things that are popular on Netflix right now, the animated series Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes was there. And I thought that was pretty cool, because you see the big television dramas there, big television comedies, and the only animated shows that are typically there are like Futurama, Family Guy, other like raunchy comedies that are aimed at adults exclusively. So for a show like Avengers that's kind of an action-oriented show for kids, but also older audiences can watch it and enjoy it. It's pretty cool, because those shows often don't get the attention they deserve. And obviously, the movie has generated a lot of interest in the Avengers, so it's cool to see that kind of trickling over to the other things. And also, the animated movie Ultimate Avenger was on there as well earlier today, so hopefully this bodes well for Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, because there's been talk that Marvel Animation might cancel Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes and replace it with another Avengers show to be more in line with their Ultimate Spider-Man series. But if the show gets enough attention and is watched enough, hopefully that'll prevent them from doing that. James Badgedale has joined the cast of Iron Man 3 as Eric Savin, a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army who becomes the cyborg Coldblood after stepping on a landmine. I am not really big into Iron Man comic books. I've only read a few, so I don't really know the Rogues Gallery that much, so I can't really say anything about Coldblood. I think, though, that Coldblood will probably be a mix of characters like Whiplash was. Whiplash was kind of a mix of Whiplash and Crimson Dynamo, so Coldblood, guessing by the description here, I'd say that Coldblood might be a mix of this character and the villain of Extremis, who is kind of biologically enhanced. So that's kind of interesting. I'm really curious to see where they go with Iron Man 3. They've said that it's going to be pretty different, and they're kind of taking Tony back to the cave in a sense, and it's more kind of back against the wall, more intense story that they're going for here. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope it's pretty cool. Idris Elba has talked a little bit about Thor 2. He said that he's definitely coming back, but he hasn't read the script yet, so he doesn't know where it's going really. But he hopes to learn a bit more about the character. Like, Heimdall guards the Rainbow Bridge, but what else does he do? So I'm kind of curious too, because he seemed like a very I think Heimdall would be pretty bored based on what he does in Thor. I mean, he's just kind of standing there the whole time, so does he do anything else? It'd be kind of interesting to find out. Production on the movie version of Kick-Ass 2 is supposed to start this summer for a May 2013 release for the movie. And I think that's pretty exciting. The one thing that is a little bit concerning, though, is that Chloe Moretz' involvement is kind of up in the air at the moment. Chloe played Hit Girl in the first movie, and she has gotten a lot older since playing Hit Girl the first time, so people are wondering if they'd try to keep her in that role since the character was pretty much the same age in the story, or if they'd recast. Honestly, I think she was one of the best things about the first Kick-Ass movie, so if it was between keeping Hit Girl the same age and recasting, or aging Hit Girl and keeping Chloe in the role, I'd be for keeping Chloe in the role. But as far as Kick-Ass 2, the story goes, I've read 6 of the 7 issues. I actually tried to find the 7th today, and I couldn't find it. They were out of the comic book store. But it's a much darker story. A lot of death happens in Kick-Ass 2. So be prepared for that if you're looking forward to this movie. I wouldn't say I like it as much as the first one. I mean, I haven't read the whole story yet, but I wouldn't say I like the story as much as the first one. It just kind of, it feels like there was a lot done for shock value in Kick-Ass 2, but I don't want to get too into that. It's looking like AKA Jessica Jones, the TV series, will not happen. It has not been picked up by ABC, and The Punisher has not been picked up by Fox, so those two shows are looking pretty unlikely right now. The Hulk show, though, is moving forward. After the Avengers, the Hulk was very well received, so it's pretty likely that that show is going to happen. I'm just kind of concerned about whether or not they'll be able to do it justice, because obviously after seeing the Hulk on screen the way he is and the way he's been, even though the Hulk hasn't been that well received in some of his other movies, people are used to seeing the CG Hulk, and that costs a lot of money to do well, and they wouldn't accept a painted up green guy the way they did back when Lou Ferrigno did it. So I'm curious to see how they are going to tackle the problem of bringing the Hulk to life on a TV budget. The Green Arrow TV series, Arrow, has been picked up by the CW, and they have released a trailer for it now, and it looks pretty decent. It is a CW TV show, though, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but the CW is not as major a network as ABC, Fox, or NBC, so you can't expect the same budget to go into their TV shows as the others, and you're not going to see like a blockbuster film quality show like Game of Thrones on the CW. It's just not going to happen. So for a CW show, I think it looks pretty good. The story has a very Batman Begins vibe to it, in my opinion. Oliver has been missing for 5 years because he's been stranded on this island, and he's presumed dead, but he comes back and he takes on the mantle of the Arrow, I guess, and he's taking on organized crime. And I have high hopes for the show. Well, I don't know if I have high hopes. It looks okay to me. I'm probably going to check it out. But I'm hoping it does well. Smallville's been gone, and Marvel seems to be having trouble getting some of their shows off the ground. I mean, Jessica Jones and Punisher are unlikely to happen now. NBC tried to have The Cape, and that failed after a short time, so we kind of need a good superhero TV show, so I'm hoping that this will be it. But that's really all I've got for this week. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe, and tune in next time.